I agree. My next one is surveillance and control. And just like in the scary movies, lurking in the shadows, the government is always surveilling us.
Somebody's
The
watching.
surveillance strips away community autonomy and gives the government just a crazy amount of oversight into our lives and our private thoughts. The scary statistics on this one are there's over 200 million cameras now in the US that track citizens real time. The government holds almost 7 billion private data points on American citizens that we haven't given consent to. Data collected by over 75% of government agencies is shared across federal and local entities. And that's got to be secure. They're
Yeah.
not just, leaking our data left and right. Over 10 billion is spent annually on mass surveillance, and that money is probably coming from somewhere that it could be used better. 80% of Americans are starting to get paranoid about being watched by the government, creating this fear environment, which is appropriate for our Halloween theme.
Yes, it is.
Government surveillance extends to over a third of all local businesses, tracking transactions and customer data. 80% of smartphone data is accessible to government agencies under the current surveillance laws. Drones have logged over 400,000 hours doing surveillance over US cities in the last year. 2,000 plus private corporations collaborate with the government on community data sharing. And surveillance programs are now in effect in over 60% of all towns under quote unquote security partnerships with federal agencies. The one I wanted to highlight here is government surveillance on local transactions. I don't think
Yes.
anybody's talking about this. We think about the cameras and the biometrics, but the way they track our transactions is just absolutely crazy. So, the government is monitoring even local level financial transactions now. So basically the question becomes, is Big Brother tracking our community's commerce, and what are they doing with that data? Should local transactions remain private, free from government oversight?
100%. And the fact that they're not is disturbing. You really called out one of there's a lot of really disturbing things about that list of scary things that the government does. There's a lot of things that shouldn't be happening. In fact, let's put this another way. There's very few of those things that are even remotely justifiable. I think we come back to the earlier part of our discussion. Cameras, ostensibly, okay. You're going to have cameras. To survey people who are out in public. That's a little bit better than having, again, I'm not real keen on this either necessarily, but when you have police cars out on patrol, it's the same kind of thing. You're kind of just tracking things in case something pops off. Hypothetically, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's used the way it should, and that's another. But literally none of the other things you mentioned, the data collection in particular of any kind, should be done on peaceful Americans that have not committed a crime, that are innocent until proven guilty. That type of data collection that's been going on for 20 years that we know about, it shouldn't exist. So when you start talking about our small scale financial transactions, that should be completely off limits. There should be no. I mean, there's already too much. What is it? $600? They want to know if your transaction exceeds more than $600 or some crazy thing. I mean, in California, you can shoplift more value than that legally.
That's a great point.
Right? It's like that. That's absurd and inconsistent. And why would you have any excuse to monitor something on that scale if it isn't for absolute tyranny and to further the aims of a dystopia? There's no other reason for it, so it absolutely needs to be nullified. Or Zach and I will go on a diatribe if you let us. We create a counter economy that doesn't even that's completely untrackable. Black markets or free markets, et cetera, et cetera. But that needs to end as soon as possible. That is nullification. That's one of the main nullification targets we should have, because there's no excuse for it. It's dystopian with no other justifiable purpose.